Well, good morning. Good morning. How are you all? Tribal dancers. It's a pretty cold morning here. The door was frozen shut to the dog pen, so that took a little effort to get it open. Oh, I just wanted to crawl back under the covers, but I didn't. So, allow me. I can and I will. Motto for the day. Chicory. Chicory and carob. I have a mushroom kai, no caffeine, it's just a blend of mushroom with kai spices. But this morning I added some pumpkin uh, protein, which just is yummy and adds to the smoothness and creaminess of it. So one more sip. Hello, Barbara. How are you today? I think my son is playing tonight in New Jersey. Him and his band. He and his band. How do you say that? What's the correct way to say that? I don't know. So, anyway, crazy week. This is a new moon, and it is in Capricorn at 27 degrees, 28 degrees, and 45 minutes. See, I should have crawled back under the covers. We've had little bits of snow off and on. There should be some snow later. Hoping for it anyway. I'd like some fresh, cover up the tracks and the doo-doo out in the dog pen. Oh, trying to get things moving here. So far, it's just you and me this morning, which is fine. But, all right, so let me just talk about the new moon first, because this begins the march toward the ring of fire. And what is the ring of fire? Well, we are about to go into the next lunar new year. So we are marching towards a total eclipse of the sun. So the moon will be in front of the sun, the shadow of the earth in between the two will cast. And there will be a total ring of fire, and it will be seen over Antarctica. Now, the last time that we had this same marking, a ring of fire beginning the year of the fire horse, was 1966. And it is 2026. So that's quite some time since it has happened like this. For the two to coincide, because just because it's a fire year doesn't make it a ring of fire with that beginning eclipse. But I digress. Anyway, I wrote some notes on that so I didn't forget certain dates. It's what I find very interesting is that when we begin that new moon ring of fire, I'm sorry, when we have the eclipse, it will last 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And that, of course, happens in the second month of the year, February. It'll be over Antarctica, and it will be on February 17th. And it begins the year of the fire horse, which is a celebration. Then the celebration of lanterns goes on from that date, February 17th, until we have the next moon phase on March 3rd. And then on March 3rd, we have the blood moon, which is a total lunar eclipse. So this is the beginning of the eclipse season. So when we do things, we should do them in phases, because it'll be February 3rd with the Ring of Fire. So on February 1st, you should set your intentions and get prepared to do whatever it is you want to have as a ritual for your eclipse, because it's going to affect your chart somehow, some way. We have all of these planets in our chart, and all of the signs are based around our charts. Hello, Paul Freed. Good morning, Leah. I was hoping you would come in because I am going to chitter chatter a little bit about Mars. And who else do we have? Denise. Hi, good to see you. It's been a while. And someone else just came in. Oh, no, that was a conversation from Leah. Okay. So, yes, happy new moon. And let's see. Okay, so then on March 3rd, we all have the blood moon, total lunar eclipse. I didn't write down where that's going to be visible. The solar eclipse, that's coming up on March 3rd, February 17th. Yes, I just woke up. Can you tell? On February 17th is going to be totally visible over Antarctica. So it'll be seen in Australia and New Zealand, but not in its full totality as it would be if you were in Antarctica. And then it's going to go, that this whole cycle of the fire horse will last until February 7th of 2026, when we will have another total eclipse of the sun, which is, I found to be very interesting. So, Paul Freed, and let's see. Okay. How about 7-planet? Oh, yes. So tonight, Valerie and I will be on, and it's amazing because these planets are going to be together not only right now in Capricorn, because that started with the last moon. We have the sun and Vulcan, of course, which very few people talk about, but it's important because Vulcan is a part of the Mars mythology, the pantheon of Rome, and important. He is the blacksmith of the universe, and in your chart and in everybody's chart, he is the first ray of power and strength at your birth, because he travels so close to the sun that we can't see it. Now, astronomers want to say that planet doesn't exist, and some astrologers basically ignore it, but a lot of astrologers do not. And I find it strange that astronomers will say, yes, there's a planet X, but we don't know where it is, and it ain't Vulcan. You know, there's so much history in the sky that we don't know about, because it was thousands and thousands and thousands of years before we existed. And when we think of the collision of a planet called Theia, 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 that collided with Earth, early baby Earth. When that collision appeared, who knows what other planets it ricocheted? Who knows where Vulcan was? Was the sun even our star at that point? I mean, of course it was, but you know what I'm saying? Nobody was there to witness this or to understand that. So, but I'll talk more about that another time. Because who is Mars, right? Leah, you asked me if I would deal with some of the planets. So yeah, let's just go to the first planet in the beginning of the zodiac, not in our solar system. That would be Vulcan. But I find it very interesting that the Romans honored Vulcan. And I see this as a desert planet because of its proximity to the sun. And I would liken it to Dune, if you think of Arrakis and what that planet was like. If you're familiar with Dune, either the books or the movies, the TV series, which was fantastically done. That's on HBO if you want to watch it, if you haven't already. Anyway, I can see that it is arid and so dried out, it's just sand. And it may not have always been that close to the sun. With all of the storming and asteroids and things that hit other planets as this universe was settling in, as other planets were forming, such as Earth, it may not have been that close, and it may have been able to have been inhabited. And in fact, Arrakis has temperatures much like our regular desert, which is doable. It gets cold at night and it gets hot during the day. 113 degrees is still a possibility of living in. If you've been to Florida when it's been 113 and humid, and that happens, right? That happens. So who is Mars? Mars is the Roman god. He's the Roman god of war and agriculture. His Greek counterpart is Eris. Now, Eris was frowned upon. He was thought to be of a discord, of malevolent means. And I'm not going to talk too much about him, except that nobody liked him. Let's just say it that way. So here's the alter ego of our boy Mars. And Mars has done a couple of strange things himself. So his mother was Juno and his father is Jupiter, and there's several different stories on how he was birthed. Some of the stories say that Juno, because she knew that Jupiter had given birth to Minerva, who we refer to as Athena, out of the top of his head, she wanted to do the same thing. So she went to a witch and got these flower. I can't remember the name of the flower. And anyway, ate the flower and immediately became impregnated and gave birth to Mars without Jupiter. But others say in legend that Jupiter and Juno were married and they gave birth to Mars. So I like that story better because we look at Juno and it's all about partnerships. And let me look at my notes so I don't forget the order of things in which I want to talk. So he was a very important figure. And if we understand that he is the god of war and the god of agriculture, Both of those seasons begin at the same time. March, early spring, is when we start planting our crops, and when soldiers would be getting ready to go out on campaign. So March is the beginning, and it would go until October, when with Sawe, we're at the end of the growing season, and all the crops are in, and the festivals of Sawe begins. And that would be the end of the fighting campaigns as well, with the bitter cold and the mountains and all the things that go prevent or used to prevent troops from actually being in battle during winter on big, strong campaigns. It doesn't mean they didn't have fights. So let me say hello to Maureen. I see Maureen's joined us, and Kendra has joined us. And did I miss anybody else? Maureen, okay, yep, I think I got y'all. So anyways, that's why he is the God of both of those things, and was important all the way through all of the Roman times, and is still considered important. He's very celebrated in Italy. Now, so when you think of him as agriculture, he also wards off the foes of the weather and what is called rust. Rust is a fungus that attacks wheat, and rusted is a fungus that attacks iron. And of course, iron is part of how you make the tools of war in those days, especially iron ore. And he's guilty of rape. He raped the she-wolf. Now I have to look at the name, sorry. Rhea Silvia. And with her fathered Romulus and Remus, often thought of as the twins, although Pollux comes in from the Greek pantheon when we look at Gemini, the twins. It's Romulus and Gemini. So, I mean, Romulus and Pollux for Gemini. Anyways, his true love, of course, is Venus. And she gave birth. Oh, who did she give birth to? I've forgotten now. See, I should have written all this down. Shame on me. So anyway, what a morning. Is anybody else this discombobulated? You know, we can't forget about the aspects that are going on while we're sleeping. And the moon was very active. I mean, it's out of bounds, but he's moving because he's into that new phase. He was at his last crescents, you know, that last tiny little sliver. So we have this new moon now. In the Navy says it's at 2:52 Eastern. My app says it's 4 something Eastern. But, you know, adjust for your time zone and pay attention to what they say for the area that you live, because, you know, there is an arc. The earth is curved, and so there is an arc in which you pick up the same energy. We can be in the same time zone, but like Valerie is at the beginning of the time zone at the, you know, ocean end in Virginia, and I'm at the end of it. If I travel an hour and a half, 2 hours towards this end of the state, I would be in another time zone. I would be in the beginning of the central time zone. So Michigan itself has 2 time zones. It's basically in alignment with where Chicago is. If you just drew a line straight up through the mitten. So like Traverse Bay and all of that over on the Michigan shoreline, that's another time zone. So last week I touched on sigils. And so this week I wanted to refresh your memory that we have the complete circle. In fact, let me just do it this way. We have the complete circle, we have a vertical line, and we have the horizontal line. Now, we have the complete circle, which, as I spoke last week, the dot in the center is where you begin, right? Well, when we think of the sun, we put a dot in the center because that is the seat of potentiality. Things grow under the sun. We are born under the sun. At our birth, it is the seat of our potentiality. We can look at that as the dot, the shadow of Vulcan, and where our first ray of power and strength arrive. So Mars is a god who descended to Earth. When we take these two lines and put them together, we now have a cross. We have the cross sections, 4 corners, north, east, south, and west. And Mars, though he is a god, he descended to Earth. And now he is on the horizon. That line of horizon has now attached. But he wants to take action. He wants to continue to go. So as he presses his weight onto this horizon and it attaches, he begins to send his power upward and outward. And what had been the cross, his force has pushed it to the end and bent it to become the arrow. And this is why we look at him and think, go forward, do what you need to do what you want to do, take action. What are the things that thwart action? We put planets like Uranus retrograde in his way, and that stops him. And right now we have Mars in Capricorn with Venus, the Sun, Vulcan, Mercury. We're coming into this new moon. As we go into this next phase, we're going to slip right into Aquarius on February 3rd. And Venus will already have made her egress into Aquarius then. And so she's going to be in Aquarius, conjunct Pluto at the time that the sun and the moon go into Aquarius together. So it's all happening. It's all happening with us right now. It's all going to happen later on today. They're all in tight enough orb to still be in that same conjunction that they were in earlier this month when we had the full moon on January 3rd, which is so interesting because we have 7 signs in a row. We have Libra and Scorpio and Sagittarius and Capricorn and Aquarius. And then also when we go into Pisces and Aries, those new moons are going to occur at the latter degrees of the sign. So 27, 28, 29. Today's is 28. I think all of them in the past have been at 28. And then the new moons, the full moons are going to be occurring on the 3rd of the month going forward. So it's just so interesting when those things happen in a row. And I'm not sure, but we may have 5 eclipses this year. I don't recall whether March 3rd is going to be, well, March 3rd, if the moon in April is going to be the third eclipse. I didn't really look that far ahead. I thought there were 5 eclipses this year. Anyway, that doesn't always happen either. Sometimes there's 4. So here we are in eclipse season, and it's time to put together your ritual, give thought to what you want to do. I think it's very important that we return to rituals that, yes, Leah, find yourself. That is a very important thing that we should all be applying right now. Finding ourselves is what eclipses are about. And beginning now is how we start this. Now, when this is also, this is important. And I'm going to talk about this with Val tonight. If you watched us last year, at the beginning of the year, we all should look at our draconic charts. At the time in which we realize that the nodes of the moon, the lunar nodes, are going to be switching soon. And so we prepare for that by everybody looks at their chart as if they had a 0-degree Aries. Because this is the reset as the points shift. So when we all get this 0 degrees, how many degrees is it from your north node, wherever that is in your chart, to 0 degrees of Aries? What is that difference? That's how much of a shift your chart will have. The signs remain the same, and the degrees remain the same, but the houses will shift. And so when you do this, if you have, like, it's real easy for me because my north node is at 24 degrees of Aries. So everything just shifts a little bit for me. Some things stay in the same house. Some things don't really move. So, I mean, especially the big planets, they move, but the aspects remain the same, which is the other thing. The aspects remain the same. The degrees remain the same. The houses shift. Anyways, when you do that, and if you know your chart, it's very simple for you to do it on your own. It gives you an idea of what your calling is, what it is your Vulcan, your power, your strength lies. Like when I shift to my draconic chart, I can see why astrology becomes even more so important. Now, I'm definitely a Gemini and a jack of all trades, but there's certain things that I excel at, just like all of us. So when you look at your regular chart and you don't understand why you're doing the thing you're doing, and then you look at your draconic chart and it's spelled out in black and white, you understand that you really are doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if not, it gives you the strength of conviction in order to be able to switch. There is no reason why your calling can't be your career. All of us. Good morning, Brenda. I'm having a hard time reading, folks, because I still haven't gotten new readers. And I got the print is so small because I'm on an iPad, not because of any other thing. If it were on a bigger screen, it would be bigger and easier to read. What time with Val tonight? 8 o'clock Eastern. So adjust for your time zone. I think, yeah, adjust for your time zone. It might be 5 if you're out on the Pacific coast. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit more tonight, and I have my thoughts better together. Oh, here's something else I discovered, which I think everybody should know. For the longest time, ever since Tylenol has been invented, that has been what I have taken. And so that means for a very, very long time, I would take aspirin too, but it was Tylenol was what I was taking. So with all this turbulence that's going on in my body, I have been taking a lot of Tylenol. Now, I consider it a lot if I take it 3 times a day because I take 2 pills at a time. And those of you who know me, I've had some crazy stuff go on. I discovered that I can no longer eat avocados, and that now the latex that is a crossover in many foods. So if you have a latex allergy that you know of because of having surgery or latex tape on your body, or the dentist sometimes will put that well in your mouth, and that's made out of latex. That I always used to get cold sores from it, and I didn't understand why. Well, it was because it was latex. Anyway, if you have that, check the food contents of things you eat, or all of a sudden don't like anymore. Like bananas, latex crossover. I lost my taste for bananas a very long time ago. Strawberries, same thing, especially more recently. But I eat a quart of strawberries and it's like, ugh, they don't thrill me anymore. It was different when I was a kid. And mangoes, I get such a belly ache for mangoes. And before I understood that it was latex, there have been times where I would eat avocados and I would get that same belly ache that mango gives me. And God, they're so good, but I eat one and I can't even finish it. So when I discovered that, I broke out in hives everywhere. Well, the itching, the sensitivity of my skin didn't go away. So I was blaming it on the elastic that's everywhere. We have latex in everything. Compression clothes, our underwear, the elastic around our waistbands, all of that stuff. And it's not covered, it's resting right on your skin. So I was holding that responsible for this extreme sensitivity. I couldn't touch my abdomen without wanting to scrape my skin off. Well, it turns out that, especially in the elderly, which I don't think of myself that way, but I am 76, part of a reaction is a skin sensitivity. It can even be a rash. Now, I will not consider that to be part of the hives. The hives are because I was like eating an avocado a day for, I would eat them every day. And they had gotten really cheap last winter. So I ate them a lot during the winter last year because they were available and inexpensive. So when I discovered that, I stopped taking Tylenol. At the end of 5 days, it was out of my system, and I took nothing for the discomfort that I get sometimes. And I try to stay away from taking anything because the pain, even if it's bad, it's like, okay, I tolerate it, and it makes me sit still and it makes me meditate instead. So I just use it as a trade-off. Anyway, I basically got it out of my system and my skin stopped itching. Now, this brings me to think, what in Tylenol has a latex crossover or mimics it, like potatoes, white potatoes, Yukon Golds, Little Reds, purples, and those potatoes mimic gluten. And your body thinks it is gluten, so it behaves the same way. So if you have a gluten thing, you got to watch out your nightshade stuff. And potatoes are a nightshade, but sweet potatoes are not. So anyway, I'm rethinking that part and wondering if there is a trigger with the latex. I stayed away from the avocados and the hives went away. But even the cream that the doctor gave me for the hives didn't touch this itch from the Tylenol. But you know what did? Arnica, which is another salve I've started to make, is arnica. Apples and grapes, yep, I love them too. Apples, I have to peel. If I take the skin off, I can eat an apple. If I eat the skin, there's a trigger. So there's something in the skin, which may just be crossover from people wearing latex dipped gloves doing the harvesting. It's a thought. You just never know. You know, there's stuff sprayed on the outside anyway and all of that other business. So my ramblings this morning, hey? And I want to do more about sigils because they are important in reading so much of the coding, the ancient coding, before there was an alphabet that we looked at as we look at now. It's the Ogham. It's the also said Oham. So if you hear it without the hard G, it's still correct pronunciation. And the ruins and the way people sign initials. And there is heavy power in those sigils. It's angelic. It is Hebrew, Sanskrit, cuneiform, and I would look at the beauty in which those old languages are written, especially when we look at Chinese and Japanese. That grace with which the brush flows. And there's many different ways to make modern sigils. Just taking your initials. When I was single, my initials were DG. And so when I was quickly signing something, that's how I made it. DG. But now it's Diana Bowles. So I do that. Now, if I wanted to add my middle initial, which was Christine, I did it that way when I was single. There's power in that. It identifies you. People look at that and you know who it is. Like when we say 45. Because right now, there isn't a 4 and a 7 in, in numerology. Not true. Just, just joking. For entertainment purposes only. Let me see. What does Leah have to say here? My sigil is perpetual plasma wave. Yeah. You could write it with cursive, whatever you want. But the ancient sigils have this power in them because that was how people read. That was how people spelled. Well, I'm probably missing a lot of wonderful chat here. Oh, let's see, who is this? The Warrior Widow. Good morning. Good morning. I love you too. We all love you. Good to see you. I'm trying to catch up here. Thank you for this morning. You're welcome, Leah. Let's see, who says this here? Barbara, I soak all veg and fruit in vinegar and grapeseed extract. Wow, that is a fabulous tip. Wow. Do you just use white vinegar or do you use apple or what? Well, probably just white vinegar, huh? And grapeseed extract. So pycnogenol, or where do you get the grapeseed extract? Do you pierce a capsule and press the oil in? Or are you able to find it in a whole, in a liquid form? White vinegar. Okay, thank you. I thank you. That's a big, all the cooking I do, and I never even thought of doing it. Although, you know what? I do soak eggplant. And if anybody needs to know, there's a difference between a male eggplant and a female eggplant. When you get a male eggplant, there will be a whole lot less seeds. When you get a female eggplant, there will be a whole lot more. So how do you tell the difference? You flip it over and look at the fat bottom and you'll see a belly button. It's an innie. But is it big? Then that's a female. If it's little, it's a male. And that eggplant will have fewer seeds, and those seeds are where the bitterness comes from. But yes, I always soak my eggplant so that bitterness isn't there. And I like to keep the skin because I'm strange like that. And so I soak it in salt water. Usually use Celtic salt for this. Leah, you're the chef. What do you got to say? You love capsule. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, hello, Rush. Hi, Rush. Thank you for letting me know. Same with peppers. 3 bumps is a male, 4 bumps is a female, fewer and sweeter. Yep, the male are sweeter. Love that. Teresa Ford, how are you? I hope you're doing better. I keep white vinegar in a spray bottle on my sink and spray everything and then rinse. I didn't know about the grapeseed extract. Yeah, vinegar, yeah, but grapeseed extract, that is fantastic because with that comes pycnogenol. So you've got to be getting some of that left behind when it soaks into the porous areas. And Barbara, do you cut things up first when you soak it? Let's see. What do you have to say? Good morning. I missed the notification. You know what, Barb Pet? I don't send out a notification because I never sure if it's going to be 9:30, or 10 o'clock. Because it just depends on how I roll out of the sack in the morning. I literally get up, let the dogs out, give them a cookie, make my chicory and carrot powder mix, and sit down on the couch and plug it in, and here I am. So, I mean, today I am discombobulated, and I had a decent night's sleep, pretty painless actually. I get stiff, and I'm sure we all do because we just go sink into our sleep. But because of the discomfort, my body has gotten to the point where it doesn't move much. So the stiffness is what gets me. And la-di-da. Let's see what this says here. Did anyone else have a hard time sleeping? Nerves were crazy. Now, last night I didn't, but so back to the Tylenol story. See, so discombobulated. I hope this goes away by tonight. I took, after clearing my bloodstream out of anything for pain killing except my arnica salve, I took Aleve, which is an naproxen sodium, which I have taken a couple of times in the past, but over the years since it's come out, but never something that I kept on hand and took on a regular basis. So, wow. I took it yesterday, but I took it early in the morning yesterday. No, wait a minute. I did not take it yesterday. I took it Friday, later in the afternoon, and its effects stuck with me until last night. So I took it around 3 o'clock on Friday and didn't take anything until just before going to bed last night, which was midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So let's say I took it at around midnight. I was watching Sanctuary, The Witch's Tale, new season. Anyway, I can tolerate that so far. I've had no strange reactions, and its effects have lasted longer. So while the tolerance is still low, I'm not going to add anything quickly. Let's see this. You can find the extract in a squeeze bottle on Amazon. Thank you, Barbara. I will look for it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. I'm just happy to see you, wise lady. Thank you. Glad you are well. Woke up to a dusting of snow here in North Georgia today. Yay. I'm waiting for the snow to come in from Lake Michigan. It's all coming in the Alberta Clipper that's passing through. What do you have to say here? Let's see. I took Tylenol Solar. Oh, right. The sun gives you the headaches. I understand. What is this? No, I weigh 128 pounds on a bad day. On a good day, I weigh 123. So catch me in the summer when I'm healed and moving again. Yeah. Thank you, though. I am shrinking, as our bones have a tendency to do. At once upon a time, my dad measured me and said, "You're 5'7". Nah, I don't know if that was ever true. My dad might have been pushing the envelope. But at one time, I know I was 5'6.5". And now I'm 5'3.5". And I forced them to measure me because they don't do that much anymore. It's like, you don't, yeah, I'm not going into the medical field today because that just gets me ironed up. I get some rust on my iron when I do that. All right. Well, all right. It's 10:21. Oh my gosh, we've been here almost an hour just enjoying each other's company. So before we go, we have so much discord out there. So I want to say a different blessing than I normally do. And this one is not one that I have written myself, though, because it is the new moon and we are in its shadow. I want to start by saying, calling in with incantation the moon as we go through these phases. So, Grandmother Moon, light our way. Show us the path we stand in today, be it for rest or work or play. Grandmother Moon, light our way. I am the light. The light is within me. The light moves throughout me. The light surrounds me. The light moves without me. I am the light. We are the light. The light is within us. The light moves throughout us. The light moves without us. The light surrounds us. We stand in this light together. We get stronger and more brilliant. And we will eliminate discord. And so mote it be. Blessings to you all, my friends. We'll see you later. If you're able to watch the show tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time, adjust for your time zone. Entertainment purposes only. And I love you all. Thank you for joining me this morning. Our little Sunday on the sofa. Bye-bye. Peace out.